We'll get in a moment later on, I hope I get there. I don't never know. But I hope we get to where James said, be ye doers of the word. This is what I wanted to exhort you to begin with. Be doers of these things. Write down some things every Wednesday night that are said from the word. And think about it till it does speak to you. A sentence, a statement, or something, part of a verse that you can apply to your life. And then meditate on that when you leave and start endeavoring to apply these things to your life. Because if you don't apply them, if anybody doesn't stay in the Word, be ye doers of the Word, not hearers only, deceiving, deluding your own self. For if any man just looks at the Word, he's like a man who beheld himself in a mirror, and then when he's way in a straight way, he forgets what manner of man he is. The minute you leave the Word, as it were, the Word will leave you, so take the Word with you. Don't be forgetful, hearers of the Word only, be doers of the Word. So don't forget. Say it out loud, I won't forget. Oh, I'm going to help you if you listen to me. Please say it again, I won't forget. I'll never forget. 20-some years ago, I heard, and I'll have to think, and Gary Fletcher can help me. You can help me with her name, but the lady out of Denver or Colorado Springs, Marilyn Hickey's ministry, I was listening to her one time, and she said, she used the word energeo, which is the word for worketh in the Bible. Worketh is the word energeo, where we get our word energy. It worketh in you, and she said it's energeo, and she said, and now say, I'll never forget energeo. And I've told you this story before, but I'd say, and her on TV, I said, I'll never forget energeo. She said, say it again, I'll never forget. And I'd say, I'll never forget. Energeo. And I've never forgot energeo. Because when you say something, it registers on you. When you say it repetitiously, it'll register on you. I loved math. Boy, I still do. I'm a pretty good decipherer. I'm pretty quick. I meant to be the quickest kid in the class. I love the flashcards. I love 4 4 16, 4 32, 6 9 54. And I knew that repetition taught me, and it sunk into my consciousness. Now, I can still do my multiplication table. 12 12 is 143. Just seeing if you're there. 12 12 is 144. The 11s always gave me a little trouble, but I can get there if I needed to. But what you hear repetitiously will stick with you. So that's why I have you say things. There's a reason for everything we do. Now I'm talking about Creflo having 12 series, sermon number 12, part 12 of his deal. The reason I said that's because, and I noticed I don't get very far. We only got, Shauna's teased me the other day, and she just teased me, but she said, Daddy, you've been there all year, and you've only got to chapter 11. I said, well, I can spend a year in any verse. I've never exhausted a verse in my life. This word is so wonderfully power-packed from heaven that if I'll just let God give, we're going to get to it in just a moment, but another one, the Proverbs 4 says, my son of 10, it means to prick your ears. Say it with me, prick my ears. Now, how many of y'all ever rode a horse? Did you ever notice when you speak to a horse or a horse hears something, how he'll prick his ears? Well, the Bible tells you to prick your ears about the word. So to try to entice you to do that in case you're sleepy when you come in, you've been in the day, you're tired, I just appreciate you coming because it's cold. You could have stayed home, watched the fire burn. I know that. Took an effort to get here. So let's don't sleep through it. Let's prick our ears. Amen? And let's be attentive to the Word because God's Word will heal you. It'll heal your life. The things we say need to be said. So where I was going with that, I'm back there now. I get going off on these trails like old preachers do, but I almost lost it there again. Oh, I know. I don't get very far because I always give you, and I think about that, I always give you an appetizer. I was thinking about it tonight while we was worshiping. Please say it with me, an appetizer. You go to a nice restaurant, you might order a appetizer. So that's course number one. That's not the real deal. That's the appetizer. So if I've had people, well, your third sermon was really good today, Pastor. Well, now that was the dessert. In there you had the appetizer, you had the main course. There may be 7 courses before you get out here. But it's for your good. So I give appetizers in order to get you on board. I give things that make you hungry, hopefully, to hear the things I'm really going to say. And so my appetizer tonight, though we're studying Proverbs and we're going to the book of James, but remember this always and know this. James is the Proverbs of the New Testament. If you want wisdom from the New Testament, it's all through there. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, it's all packed with wisdom. But James is a book of wisdom for the New Testament. So let's go to the book of James. And chapter 1, And just start with verse 12, because this is meant as an appetizer. This is just little course number 1, an appetizer. If I had good etiquette, I would know what all them courses meant and how to have a real several course meal. But what we really do, and I thought about it, I thought, well, I'm just giving an appetizer. So now when I'm doing this, just think, well, if I'd eat better, he wouldn't have to bring me so many appetizers. James chapter 1, verse 12. If you're there, say I'm there. Blessed, I'm already happy. The Bible tells me how to be happy, and I'm happy, I know. Blessed, or blessed, happy, is the man that endureth what? For when he is what? He shall receive what? Which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Life is a test. Marriage is a test. Single is a test. Riches are a test. Poverty is a test. Beauty is a test. In fact, I'll read later on tonight if I get down there about how a beautiful woman that's stupid is just like a diamond in a hog's snout. Sometimes if a lady's real pretty, she don't think she has to ever really develop herself spiritually. I've known handsome men that never were very good husbands because they didn't know they needed to develop as a husband. They just thought they're good looks. I told my children, Charlotte remembers when I told her, don't use your personality, though it's wonderful, don't use your personality to get through life. Some people have such good personalities, they can just get by pretty good on just their personality. They can just smooth people and slap people on the back and, go on. But they don't really develop themselves. They really don't have much. Am I communicating? Their wisdom's not very deep. Their substance is not much. So if the rubber ever hits the road, they're really kind of phony. But life is full of tests so you can develop. And when you develop, you receive, as it were, a crown of life. And I want to say it again because I want you to understand it. When I preach on the crown of life, the crown of righteousness, the crown of joy, those crowns are not physical crowns. And I don't even believe they are in heaven, but you can think they are if you want to. It doesn't matter to me. Think whatever you want to. It really doesn't matter. We are a spiritual being, and a crown is just significant. That's another word for the wreaths they placed on the Olympic winners in the Olympic Games. And it just means a man has a consciousness of his own dominion. When you've handled the giants of life, they just make you have a different walk about you. You just finally figure out you ain't just toast. And is this okay? When you find out you really are made out of pretty good stuff, as me and Chris Wright was talking before church, and I said, what makes a good knife? He said, the steel that's in it. I said, that's right. Life will find out if you got any steel in you. You ain't got no steel, you ain't going to make it. God can't use you. Wish people would understand me. Heard Creflo say it the other day, and I see it a little differently than he does. He's a much bigger minister than I am, but hey, I guess it's right to believe as he does. But anyway, he made a great point. He said if you read the book of Revelations over and over again, it indicates that heaven is for the overcomers. And I wanted to shout into his program, I'm 9 times in 8 verses, it's to him that overcometh. Please say it with me, him that overcometh. See, life is a place where you overcome. In heaven, that realm of elevated life, both there and now, belongs to the overcomers. If you can't overcome depression, you'll never wear the crown of life. But if you've had depression, overcome depression, then you can wear that crown. Been there and done that, bought the T-shirt, know how to whip that devil. So I would not be who I am if I hadn't fought the giants I fought. How y'all doing? And really, when you fight giants, you get to where you and win. Remember Paul, so much I want to preach. Paul said, fight the good fight of faith. I fought a good fight. I kept the faith. I finished my course. A good fight's a fight you win. So the more fights you have in life, let me say it another way, the more fights you win in life, the more confidence it gives you in living. And that translates into some joy, some happiness, some peace, some confidence, some spiritual forces that you need. So I'm just trying to give you a little old appetizer here. Life is a trouble thing. But, say it with me, but blessed is the man, verse 12. And let me read you. I love these translations. Happy is the man, Rotherham translation. Happy is the man that endures temptation. Another translation endures under trial. Say it with me, endures. Here's the word I want to use: perseveres. Life is the crowns belong to the perseverers. I wish churches had taught this for the last 200 years. We wouldn't be like we are today. If you're going to be in business, you've got to persevere. If you're going to be in a marriage, you persevere. It ain't just going to happen. And see, I thought as I was born and being raised, I thought that when I come forward and received Jesus, that it was just instantly going to get good. And when it didn't, I thought I wasn't saved because I didn't know anything. They didn't teach me anything, so I just backslid. And they said, well, you can't help him. He's a backslider. Well, hey, it don't just get good. Salvation is a process of working. I said it a while ago. The Lord said it to me that way. I said it. I just said as well as he said it, and I never do. That's why I go home every time feeling like I didn't do a good job, because he always says it to me better than I say it to you. But this thing, I've got a lot of me left in me, and for me to get that out of me, there's a lot of pressure put on me to find the me that's there and squeeze the me out of me so he can live in me. Oh, it's no longer I that liveth, but Christ liveth in me, Paul said. You out there? And for that to happen, I've had to become a whole different person. And some of the things I used to be, I did not want to give up. I held on to them desperately. And they beat me, 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 and they beat me. But I didn't want to let it go because I thought, this is great, this is fun. So God said, okay, have some more of that. And I'm like a man slapping himself in the face. I just beat myself silly. Because what he's trying to do is live through me. In me. Christ be formed in you. Well, I'm telling you, to get Christ to form in you, you got to get rid of a lot of you. Now, I won't leave you in that vein of thought, but you know, Jesus said, if a man's going to find his life, he'll lose it, but if he'll lose it, he'll find it. What kind of a riddle? What kind of a proverb is that? You remember, proverbs are dark sayings, they're riddles, they're dark sayings. We need to understand dark sayings. Here's a dark saying: if you're going to find yourself, you got to lose yourself. If you lose yourself, you find yourself. Do what? Well, he knew exactly what he was talking about. He's just trying to give him an appetizer. Think. I tell you, he's looking for thinking people. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Jesus is looking for somebody that's hungry enough to please him and please the Father and do what it takes to do to get a good job and become a better person. I'll be preaching on that Sunday. Don't miss Sunday, because I'm going to be speaking from the heart of God on Sunday about pressing toward heaven in 2011. Just the very attitude of pressing. I mean, you take grapes. You want to make wine, you got to press grapes, man. Grapes don't like making wine. Hogs don't like bacon. I just love this life. I got to get back. Blessed. Please say it with me, blessed. And other translations say happy is the man that endureth. Say it with me, endures. It means perseveres. So say it with me, perseveres. For when he's tried, say it with me, when he's tried. Now that's a word we don't really get. Here's American Standard, when he has been approved. Let me try that. For once his testing is complete. Say it with me, when my testing is complete. Knox says this way, when he proves his worth. See, life belongs to the overcomers. Christianity is a life of overcoming. If you don't want to overcome, then you really don't know God. And not only that, and I keep saying this, I'm blue in the face, but you're under command to overcome. You're under command to develop. You're under summon to develop. And so, just as an appetizer, the reason we're here is because happy is the man that endures. Happy is the man that remains firm. Happy is the man that perseveres under the trial. So if you're going through a trial, don't think that anything strange. The trial is on you to prove you that you'll do wisdom. Please say it with me, wisdom. See, this verse we're looking at is found in the book of James. It's a book of wisdom. Say it with me, please. It's a book of wisdom. He said, fortune, here's my words, fortune is the man that endures. It really means fortitude. Please say that with me, fortitude. See, I want you to say it like I said in the Gao 20 years ago. Fortitude. God is looking for people with some fortitude. He needs a few good Marines. He ain't looking for pansies. He ain't looking for whiners. He's looking for somebody that wants to be special forces. And they're going to fight life through till they can say at the end the dream is true. They're going to persevere under the pressures that they go through. And then I learned this, the pressure is like the fire on the gold. It's to get me rid of me so there can be more of him and less of me. But I get to enjoy all that. So I don't really, I tell myself this. It really will help you if you learn to tell yourself this. If I'm going through something, I think I'm going through it. I'm not going to camp in it. I'm going to remain in it. I'm going to die here. I'm going to overcome. I'm going to persevere. And it ain't easy. I have opportunities every day, more than I want. I keep telling myself, it's not the big things that destroy life. It's the little things. You just come like a hive of bees every once in a while. Yeah. But it'd be good for you just to make a habit out of. I'm just speaking to you, to make a habit out of saying, I'm going to persevere. All my life, one of my weaknesses, I'll share a little bit of insight into me that I'm not proud of at all. My first reaction is the flight reaction. I want to quit. For this ministry and pastorate, I have wanted to quit 1 billion times. I asked my friend Billy Burris one time, who's my pastor, I said, Bill, do you ever want to quit? He said, every Monday. And he meant it. Because when you get through, you just feel like you haven't done as well as you should have done. And that's the way God is. No matter how good you do, it always should have been better. And if you're here, that's a real lot of pressure if you let it be. You say, well, just turn it over to God. I know that's real easy. That's another one of my faults. I'm not real good at that either. So I got a lot of things to work out in my life, but I'm happy on my way. So I tell myself, I live by this, just even this. If it's easy, everybody be doing it. If overcoming was easy, we'd have a world full of overcomers. It's not easy, and there's not a lot of them, but there's more of them because we're getting there. And we understand that blessed is he that endures temptation. It's a test. There's a test about your life. Brother Clefro said it this way, but it just so speaks because it's where I'm at. There's a journey to your joy. If you don't pass the journey, you can't get to joy other than through the journey. And in the journey, there's giants there. There's giants to your happy marriage. There's forces against your prosperity of any kind. And God in His wisdom allows that to try you. And it goes ahead and said, don't let a man say he's tempted of God to sin. He's not. We're tempted by our own lust. Our flesh wants to pull away. My flesh wants to quit. But I haven't quit. 31 years, going on 32. I'm not bragging on me because I've cried like my kids remember me sitting out in jail. In particular, likes to bring it up. Well, Dad, was that about the time you sat in the back door crying? That's not good for your kids to see that. I should have never done it. I just did the best I could at the time. How many of y'all are doing the best you can at the time? So don't get down on yourself because this ain't no time to get down on yourself because my reaction always has been is kind of, if I got problem with this situation, what I want to do is not confront it, not fight it, just leave it and quit it. But my reward is in handling that thing. In there is my crown. How do you win it? Through wisdom. That's what I'm trying to preach on. Say it with me, through wisdom. Through skillful and godly wisdom. God, more than likely, ain't just going to fix your problem. He's going to find out if you'll seek Him and His wisdom enough to find the right wisdom, to apply the right wisdom. And let me just tell you something else really good. When you get enough wisdom to get through your mess, you won't ever worry about that mess again. People who've been billionaires and gone broke learned a lot of things while they went broke. There's a lesson in everything in life. And if you take life as a game and when it gets real bad, just remember, I'm not going to quit. I always persevere. Please say it with me, I always persevere. That's Summer Sunday. Fortunate are the people who endure or have fortitude through temptation. Means approving of adversity. When they're tried, they're approved. They receive the crown. It really means honor of life. There's an honor that goes with life. There's an honor that goes with life. There should be an honor that goes with life. Someone who's lived a godly life for 80 years ought to have more honor than the idiot that wasted his life. And God will prove Himself in our lives as we faithfully follow Him when the flesh don't want to and it screams quit and backslide and give up. This don't work. I'm just telling you, this works. You may not work it, but it'll work. And one of the main reasons it don't work is we don't persevere. We're quitters. We're trained quitters. Our church is taught quitting. My elders, not putting the finger on anyone, but they were backsliders. They taught me how to quit church. They taught me how to go back. What a terrible thing to teach a child. Teach them to be fighters. Say that loud, I'm a fighter. How are you doing? So we're just trying to get you to understand we persevere. How to overcome in life. James chapter 1, let's go to verse 2. And we'll get to Proverbs, maybe. I'm not sure we will. Time's moving quickly. Verse 2 of James, same book. Please say it with me, same book. My brethren, do what? count it all what? There's wisdom number one for tonight. I will count it all joy. Please say with me, I will count it all joy. Now let me just tell you, of course you won't count it all joy. You will backslide. You'll forget. You'll get discouraged. But you'll gradually develop to a place, am I communicating, where you will more persistently, what's the word I want to, perseveringly count it all joy. To where the things that used to stumble you up, just nearly make you backslide, want to make you leave your marriage, leave your home, leave your money, leave your wife, leave your family, leave your country, you don't get quite so upset. You say, well, you know, if it's easy, everybody be doing it, so I believe I'll just get up and fight again. I live every day to fight again. I get up every morning to fight again. I'm so pleased with myself. Most people can't say it. Most preachers wouldn't dare say something like that. It's great being me. Deal with it. My brethren, count it all joy. See, please say it with me, count it all joy. Knox says, consider yourselves happy indeed. Reckon it nothing but joy. You must find the greatest joy when, say it with me, when you fall into divers what? American Standard, manifold temptations, various trials. How many of y'all can identify with various trials? How many of y'all have had various trials within the last year? How about the last hour? Good. That means you're in the game. You're not on the bench. There's still hope for you and me. Count it all joy when you fall into manifold temptations, various trials of every sort. Whenever you find yourself surrounded by various temptations, knowing, verse 3, knowing, please say it with me, knowing. Knowing this, the trying of your faith works patience. Worketh is the Greek word what? Energeo. Exactly. Energizes patience. Please say it with me, patience. Now, I hate patience, don't you? I don't really want to say that because I'd offend Mother Patience. So let me just say that as a matter of teaching. Patience is not something I like to have. But patience is wisdom. It's wisdom to have patience. If you're ever going to get where you want it, where you need to go, you're going to have to develop some patience. And I can just tell you, young people, you better learn young. You better have some patience. Patience doesn't mean putting up. It means cheerful endurance. Say it with me, cheerful. Not whining, not crying, not sitting around slobbering on yourself. Not with your head in your hands with a great pity party going on. Stop that. Don't do that. Let patience have her perfect work. Verse 4. Well, let me do it again. Knowing this, the trying of your faith works patience. Another translation says produces steadfastness. Please say it with me. I'll be a steadfast person. Another translation says develops endurance. What's God trying to do? What does wisdom say? Wisdom says you got to be a person with some endurance. I'm amazed in our country. I've got friends everywhere going to stay up January the 4th to watch Arkansas play in the Sugar Bowl, where them guys are going to beat each other up severely. I mean, it's really great to watch. I've been in that setting before. In my basic training, we had this crazy drill sergeant. And in fact, our whole battery got into it some way. Our whole company, at that time it was a company, because we were at basic training, and we had to pugil fight each other. Have you ever pugil fought? You know what a pugil stick looks like? Just stick with these big pads on it. You just knock each other, just knock your brains out. I mean, just knock you crazy. They thought that was funny. So when you stand there and you just beat each other senseless, as it were, you got helmets on, you're not really going to hurt each other, they keep telling you. But it's painful. Now, we like to watch it on the field. We'll all watch sports, but we don't understand life's a sport. It's a game, man. Paul likened it to the game. It's like a boxing match. Boxers love to get hit. They just prefer to hit other people. You see, look at Muhammad Ali. What's happened, man? He's been through a lot of stuff, a lot of tribulation. But he's Muhammad Ali. How many of y'all ever heard of Muhammad Ali? And there's others. I just happen to be my generation. And then Sugar Ray Leonard. He was a lightweight boxer, so world champion, featherweight maybe. And I was admired him because I was kind of featherweight back then. But he was tough, man. They talked tough. They had to take the heat to win the crown. They had to overcome to get the victory. Yay! We want to overcome. Yay! We'll talk about overcome, but we don't want to overcome because when you go out on the field, something's going to clobber you. And if I was a football coach, I'd just be telling you, now when you go out there, they're going to try to knock your brains out. Let patience have her perfect work. Verse 4, please sit with me, but finish the work. Do a thorough work. Patience sees something you just need. You're going to have it. You're going to, to get where some of you are even tonight, some of you that are older, you've had to have a lot of patience. You've been through a lot of stuff, man. They have people dumped on you more than once a day. And you still endured. You've persevered. And there's a crown that should go with that. Life is meant to be successful. You have a right to succeed. You have a right to be successful. Just don't be successful without the game. Don't steal people's money. Get wisdom and get your own money. Don't steal somebody else's church members, which a lot of charismatics done. Go build your own work. Don't proselyte. We don't have that problem here. Don't come into somebody else's church and divide their church. And Creflo was talking about that, and I thought he's having somebody give him static there in Atlanta. That's why he's saying that. But it's right. People that want the easy way, they never develop right. You understand that, don't you? See, if you're going to be a good nurse, you've got to be a good nurse. And when you're a good nurse and you know you're a good nurse and you know that you know what you know, then you can go into the biggest meeting with the biggest dudes there is and say, I know what I know. Now, you may not say that because you're too kind and too developed, but inside you, you know you're a champion. And there ain't nothing better than knowing you're a champion. The demon said, Jesus I know and Paul I know, but who are you? I don't do enough altar work. I say that over and over. I always think I will, but I just love the Word. I get in the Word and I just do the Word. But I got tired of people saying, they always want somebody else to pray for them or carry them or do something with them. You don't go to church to get, you go to church to give. When you come to a place where well, I just didn't bless me. Well, did you bless them? That's a wrong mentality to be a taker in your mind. Don't do that. I'm not a taker. I'm not going to be a taker. I don't want to be a taker because the Word of Heaven said it's more blessed to give than to take. And when I do what's right, I get the crown. Do you understand that? Don't you sit with me, I get the crown. And I'll tell you something else I told you. It wasn't because the Spirit of God is leading me a different way. Nobody can give you the crown. I can't give you my crown. You've got to go there by yourself. But when you do that, verily I say to you, you have your reward. I'm trying to get further, but I ain't doing too good. How are you doing? Let patience have her perfect work, or entire work, thorough work, that you may be what? Please help me, don't quit me. Verse 4, that you may be what? And? That's the goal. See, that's why he said later on, he that endureth temptation shall receive the crown of life. God wants, it is his will of heaven for you to be perfect. Now, perfect don't mean perfect in our sense of perfect. It means mature. God wills your development. Whew. Did you hear me? God wants your development. He wants you to perfect yourself. He wants you to become perfected in love. He wants you to mature. He gives you your whole life to mature. You're born a baby, physically and spiritually. I've seen grown men with big babies. I've had people I've pastored for 30 years. I shouldn't say it that way. They never developed either. They're just like they was 30 years ago. It makes me sad and makes me mad. Somewhere in my ministry they didn't hear. Thank God we got past some of the prosperity teaching in the sense that it made people selfish and just all about me and my son and my wife and my son John, his wife, us four, no more type mentality. No, it ain't about all getting. It really is about all giving. And once you become a giver in life and a producer, then you're valuable to your church, your home. Let me start in the right order. You're valuable to God. You're valuable to your home. You're valuable to your church. You're valuable on the job. You're not going to the job to see how much you can get paid for how little work. Your sins will find you out. You can't play the sucker game that long. Most people, employed people, are smart enough to know you're dogging. And if nobody ever finds out, you know. So don't do it. Don't steal a man's money. Don't steal his cattle. How are you doing? Look, verse 4. Let patience have a perfect work that you may be perfect. Please say it may be perfect. Other translations, mature and complete, fully developed. Please say that, fully developed. Here's Williams' translation, fully developed and perfectly equipped. You know that guy. He's got a crown on his head. He knows who he is. On the basketball court, on the football field. In life. God wants you at the top. He wants you. His church is the church of Jesus Christ. We're the head. He said, I'm making the head, not the tail. Well, ain't just some kind of a little blessing we get. That's when we obey the word and we remember if we endure, we receive the crown of life. Well, how do we endure? We start operating. Did you get that? In wisdom. Say it with me, wisdom. That's what this book is about. Verse 4, wanting nothing. Please say it with me, wanting nothing. Those says lacking in nothing, without any defect. Well, I better come to church next week because I still got defects. Without any defects. I wonder what that individual looks like. He looks like Jesus, who looks like God. How did he get there? Jesus grew through the things he suffered. He matured through the things he suffered. You talk about somebody that suffered. Isaiah talked about him. How you all doing? You okay? Isaiah 53 said he was despised and rejected of men. A man acquainted with sorrow. You talk about somebody new rejection. We see him at the healing, the crowd's following. We think this is all great. And all the time he's being hawked by these guys that hated him, wanted him dead, thought he was a screwball, thought he was a nut, talked all manner of evil against him, spoke everything in the world about him. Finally hung him on the cross, and on the cross he still was an overcomer. Father, forgive them, they don't know what to do. That's big. There's no defect in that. That's love perfected. How you doing? Verse 5. Say it with me, wanting nothing. See, that all comes into verse 5. What does verse 5 say? If any man lack wisdom. How am I going to ever be the person that endures? How am I going to be the overcomer? I got to have wisdom. I got to have the wisdom of God. I got to get in the Word until I get to wisdom, but this whole thing is about wisdom. Let's do one more thing. Dropping down to verse 19 very quickly, because of the time, we just will do that anyway. Wherefore, verse 19, if you're there, say, I'm therefore. Therefore, my beloved brethren, that every man be what? Swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. That's wisdom. Why? Because we're learning wisdom. We know we're people in process. We're learning wisdom. So we need to be swift to hear. Please say it with me, swift to hear. Here's another translation. Quick to listen, slow to use tongue, and slow to lose temper. I have failed more than you all. How many of y'all know that every time in life you ever lost your temper, it cost you more than you wanted to pay? How many of you have done it anyway? But see, we endure that. We just pick it up and start again. We don't get under condemnation. We don't get under guilt. We don't quit. We endure. We say, you know what? That was yesterday. God, I'm sorry I done that. And the morning I get up, I'm going to run at you some more. He applauds that. Hey, my boy. Did you get verse 19 done? Let every means be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. First, let me give you another one just real quick. Moffat, quick to listen, slow to talk, slow to be angry. You know that. So practice that. Take that from here, and don't be a forgetful hearer of that, but be a doer of that. Practice that in your life. It ain't easy. I spent my life getting over my temper. I don't know if I had a small man's temper. I don't know what caused it. I just always ready to fight. I just thought that seemed like the right thing to do. In fact, I thought about a deal today. I told my friend Bruce Pond, who's here visiting me, about a boy named A.V. That's his initials, and he was kind of a heavy-set kid. And I remember looking at him out the window at school one day, and I was about the 9th grade, and I thought, I don't know why I thought this. I thought, I think I'll give him a whipping. Bad mistake. He kind of a big, heavy-set kid, big, thick glasses, and I just thought he ought to be whipped. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know. It's crazy. So I just proceeded to go out where he was, and pretty soon I tripped him or something, just kind of picked a fight with him. And pretty soon he just got a hold of me. And pretty soon he had a headlock on me, and pretty soon my head was cracking. And pretty soon I said, I'll give. And we became great friends. Slow to speak, slow to wrath. Verse 20, for the wrath of man works not the... This is so good, are you there? The wrath of man, my anger does not work what? And I just want to use the word rightness. May I? Jesus was the rightness of God. He did it right. So the wrath of man is wrong. And I mean, I face it on a daily basis. I want to get mad. I'm not bragging on me in case that's the way you're taking it. I don't mean that. Don't poke me very hard. I'm not as saved as I want to be, but I'm working on it. Because I know that my temper is not wisdom. Please say with me, not wisdom. For the wrath of man works not the rightness of God. It says, wait a minute, a man's anger does not accomplish God's righteousness. And you know, we go on and on. We'll get to Proverbs again someday, because it just said, if you see a man full of anger, just stay away from him. Don't go around him. He's going to bite you. Leave him alone. Is that love, Pastor? It is. You love him and you both must stand away from that person. I'm just talking about somebody just wants to strive and fight, and they're always talking about fighting, and they're always talking about fighting, and they're always talking about fighting, and they're always wanting to fight. I ain't going around that. I might get wanting to fight. We might get in a big fight, and my head might start cracking. Human anger does not promote divine rightness. Moffat's translated. Anger is not the way to arrive at the justice God demands. An angry man doesn't do what is right before God. These are just translated. Man's temper is never the means of achieving God's true goodness. I'm sorry I just now read that. If I'd known that 60 years ago, to help me. Verse 21. Wherefore lay aside all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness. Receive, here's what I want to go. Please say it with me. Receive with meekness. What? The implanted word. Here's another translation. In an humble spirit, receive the message that's been implanted in your heart. Make a soil of humble modesty for the word which roots itself inwardly. Please say that with me, roots itself inwardly. See, plant these things in your heart, young people, and keep them in there, and you'll fall out of them. You'll make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I'm not mature yet. I'm not perfect yet. And if I'm not perfect, you're probably not perfect, because I've spent 64 years at working on me, and I'm still not very far down the road. So, but number one, just don't develop like I developed in the first place. Just don't go there. Just don't let jealousy develop in your life. Just don't feed some of those lusts of the flesh that will in fact take you away from God's blessings and God's prosperity. Makes me so sad, and I hear so often anymore about so many people doing so many drugs. I heard the other day of a person I would never thought it. They do cocaine. They do. Well, yeah, Dad, if you knew everybody smoking dope, I don't want to know. Make me want to give up. I don't want to give up. I want to encourage myself. Tell me about the people that ain't. Because I live in a world that's trying to find some life in the flesh, and I got news for them. It ain't there. It won't work. It ain't development. You're developing yourself, all right. You're developing your flesh, and the more you develop the flesh, the more flesh you're going to want. Got quiet again, Lord. Bless their little hearts. Receive with meekness the engrafted, the implanted word. Message which has been implanted in your heart. Verse 22, we're trying to move on. But be doers. This is the only reason I come here. Verse 22. Be what? Doers. Please say it again. Doers. Now, instead of saying doers of the word, I'd like for you to say doers of wisdom. Because, see, it is the word of wisdom. So when we learn these things together, and we're going to learn just one or two, and we're going to quit for tonight. But I wanted to get you this, because, see, this is just the appetizer. Say it out loud, I'm a doer of the word. Because I don't want to spend a year or 2 or 3 or 5 in Proverbs and you not do any different than you're doing now. It won't work for us if we don't do it. Proverbs chapter 11. I won't go long here. Don't make fun of me. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to obey God, so go with me. I'm not perfect. I never said I was, don't think I am. Verse 16. This is a great one. We covered it last week, but I noticed my wife's notes, she had, what is gracious? She was going to do a word study. In fact, I asked that. So I thought, well, I'll cover that a little bit. Verse 16 of Proverbs chapter 11. Excuse me, did I say 12? 11, 16? Are you there? A gracious woman retains honor. Let me give you another word for gracious. It can be a lot of words, but kindness is one word. Ladies, kindness is a big deal in the sight of God for a woman's life. So develop kindness in your life. It'll reward you greatly. We'll take time to go to Proverbs chapter 30 where it says, in her tongue is the law of kindness. Men need to be kind too, but the Bible definitely talks about women being kind. Please say women be kind. And you can study gracious. In fact, you can highlight it there real quickly. I've already studied that. It didn't do a lot for me, but favor, grace, pleasantness. A pleasant woman receives honor, retains honor. Say it with me, everybody, and the ladies especially. I'll be a pleasant person. It's wisdom. And in fact, if you read verse 17, it's the same thing. The merciful man, please say, oh, this is so good. I wish time wasn't running out. The merciful man, please say it with me, merciful. Highlight merciful, if you would, Brother Floyd, and let's look at that just a little bit. Hasid is like God. It's kindness, again, kindness in a man. A kind man, he's talking about here. A kind man doeth good to his own what? And we're talking about that on Sunday a lot. You know, God wants to save our soul, our emotions. A kind man does good to himself. Another translation said. Now, the key is how do you be a kind man? And here's something I've struggled with. How do you be a kind person without people thinking you're a wimp? Many times I've had my kindness misunderstood as weakness. And that's bad. Fools do that. They'll misunderstand your kindness for weakness. God's kind, but he ain't weak. The kind man does good. This is really important to his own what? But he that's cruel troubles his own flesh. The man of loving kindness deals well with his own soul, but the cruel man troubles his own flesh. The lawless man earns the wages of falsehood, but he that sows righteousness has a reward. A kind man is is rewarding his own soul. So I want to be good to myself. How many of y'all want to be good to yourself? You know, the Bible talks about a husband and wife, says every man loves himself and loves his own flesh, nourishes it and takes care of it, tells us to love our wife like we love ourselves. I hope we're smart enough people to know we need to be good to our own soul. You young people, hear me. You ain't got any more soul than you're going to need to get through life, as it were. You better take care of it. Don't get unhappy, bitter, and suicidal and then try to get well. Don't go there. I've taught you better than that. If you don't know better, you come to my office and I'll teach you better, but you don't go there. Sin will take you further than you want to go, keep you longer than you want to stay, and cost you more than you want to pay. Don't go there. That's right. I have in my ministry visited the jail of people who just shouldn't have gone there. They're so arrogant they didn't think they needed church, didn't need God, didn't need me, and then they ended up in a bad place, hard to get out. Bars on the window ain't the big bars on the window. The bars on your soul's the big bars. How we doing? You guys okay? What verse are we in? 17. Yeah. It goes on. Benevolent man is recompensed. Please say it with me. I'm a benevolent person. That's like honey. Say it again. I'm a benevolent person. So you develop yourself to be a giver. Give mercy. Give kindness. Give grace to people. It's hard to do. Well, it takes development. Please say it with development. A kindly man, here's another one. I got to go. A kindly man benefits himself. I'm just so selfish. I want to benefit me. I have felt the worth of my soul. There's something valuable in here. I better take care of it. I can't trust you to take care of it. I have to take care of it. Proverbs said, above everything else, guard your own inner self. I wish I could trust you, and sometimes I can trust you, but I can't ever trust anybody to take care of me as well as I'll take care of me. How do I take care of me? I'm kind to people. And then, therefore, I can be kind to other people, to myself. Blessed are the merciful, they shall obtain mercy. Where? Inside my own soul. If I can be merciful to you, I can be merciful to myself. If I'm too hard on you, I'm going to be too hard on me. I got to find the right balance of life. One more verse, I'll close with that. As righteousness, this is all so good. As rightness, right living, wisdom living. Do you understand that? Please set me with wise living. That's the same thing as righteousness. It's wise living. Don't worry about being a religious law. It's a law of life. How many of y'all got blessed? Stand up with me and say it out loud. God, I thank you for your Holy Spirit who's teaching me how to live. I'm going to be a doer. See, I didn't cover all James because of time either. I'm going to be a doer of the word. Here's what James said. If you're a doer of the word, you'll be blessed in your deed. I like to be blessed. I want to be blessed. How do you be blessed? Don't be forgetful here. Be a doer. Come on, say it with me. I will be a doer of the wisdom of God.